What is up, Pokemon fans? Professor Prometheus Pine here, and welcome to another lecture brought to you by the Pokemon Trainer School. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about Pokemon types and what they are weak against. Alright, let's get started. The first type that I want to talk about today is Normal. Normal type Pokemon are weak to fighting types. You can think of this like the good old school bully, in that being a fighting type beats up the normal kids. Alright, next up is Fire. Fire is weak to rock, ground, and water. This is a simple concept that I think you can understand. Rock, ground, and water covers and smothers fire. Next up is Water. Water is weak to electric and grass. Now, water conducts electricity, so that makes sense. Grass is plants. Plants thrive from water. Next up on our list is going to be Electric. Electric is only weak to ground, and you can think of this as grounding electricity. Grass types are the next on this list. Now, they are weak to quite a bit. Ice, flying, poison, bug, and fire. Now, if you live in a climate where you have winter, you understand that ice can cover grass. That's a good way to think of that one. Flying is a bit different. I don't really have a good way to describe this one other than, I guess, things in the air is the sky. Sky is above grass. Therefore, flying is super effective to grass. Poison kills grass. You use various forms of weed killer in order to kill weeds. So think of it like that. Bugs eat grass, simple, and fire burns living organisms. Living organisms being primarily wood, so think of it that way. And the next type is going to be Ice. Ice is weak to rock, fighting, steel, and fire. I like to think of it as rock and fighting chip away at ice and break it. Steel, as in any sort of instrument that you can use to break up the ice, and then fire melts ice. So that's how I think of all of those types being super effective to ice. The next type we're going to talk about today is Fighting. Fighting is weak to Psychic, Flying, and Fairy types. I think of Psychic being super effective to fighting because brain over brawn. Flying types I can get behind being super effective to fighting because a fighting type tries to punch things, and flying types, they just fly around. They're not gonna deal with any of that. And kind of similar fashion to fairies. You try to punch a fairy, it laughs at you, flies around, and then hits you with a magical blast of death. Poison is the next type that is weak to ground and psychic. For ground, I guess this can be thought of as something as simple as poison is absorbed into nature. There is no poison in nature. And as for psychic, that is, psychic types are too smart to be poisoned. Ground is the next type on this list, and that is weak to water, ice, and grass. Water erodes ground. Ice, when water freezes, can break apart ground. And grass takes over ground. So that's how you can think of those guys. The next type I want to talk about is Flying, which is weak to rock, ice, and electric. Now, rock, think of the expression killing two birds with one stone. For ice, birds fly south for the winter because it is too cold for them. And electric. I mean, I don't really have a good explanation for this other than bird plus lightning bolt equals death. Psychic-type Pokemon are weak to Ghost, Dark, and Bug. The intelligent community of Psychics just can't fathom ghosts, and it breaks them. dark types are evil and manipulative, something that the big brain psychics just cannot do, and bugs are just annoying. They fly around buzzing and allowing psychics no room for concentration. Bug type Pokemon are going to be weak to rock, fire, and flying. Rock and fire, well, rock at least, you squish a bug with a rock. Fire, you melt a bug with a rock. And flying, you hit a bug with a bird rock. Rock type Pokemon are weak to ground, water, grass, fighting, and steel. Honestly, I don't get ground. You're gonna have to figure that one out yourself. I guess tectonic plates crush rock. Yeah, gonna go with that. For water, it erodes rock. Grass, think of a rock with some moss or something on it. Basically, the grass is going to overwhelm the rock. Fighting and steel, they break it. You punch a rock and I guess in theory it breaks. It does never happen for me, but I can't say I've tried. And then steel, you break it. Ghost type Pokemon are weak to ghost and dark. Basically, ghosts are afraid of themselves. Yeah. That's mind blown. And dark types control ghosts as their henchmen. That is how you can think of dark type being super effective to ghost. Moving on, dragon is weak to dragon, ice, and fairy. Kind of a similar fashion, except the mystical might of dragons is super effective to themselves. That's how awesome they are. They're also a reptile, so they don't really like the cold. For ice and fairy, the fairies are just weird little magical things that are able to use their weird fairy voodoo magic to take dragons out. And the last three types on this list are going to be dark, which is weak to fighting, bug, and fairy. Now, the greatest way of beating a villain? You punch him. That is what I've learned from superhero comics and movies. So fighting beats dark. Bugs, they fall into the same category as psychics. They're annoying and, quite honestly, they're scary. So scary, in fact, that dark type Pokemon, they're weak to them. They just scream eek whenever they see a bug, and then the bug whomps them. And then fairies, I guess fairy is the closest thing Pokemon has to light, so light beats dark. Next up, we are going to talk about the steel type, which is weak to fighting, ground, and fire. Now, fighting is... Have you ever seen a video of a Shaolin monk or something breaking a sword over their head? That's what I got for you. That's what I have. Ground is going to be... We're going to do the same thing we did with rock. Steel is powerful, but it's made in the earth. The earth is the master, and tectonic plates beat all. And finally, fire melts steel. And finally, the last type on this list is going to be fairy. Fairy type Pokemon are weak to steel and poison. Basically, fairy plus sword equals cut fairy. And if you poison a fairy, it will die. So, that's what I have for you on today's lecture. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like the video, subscribe, and, I guess you could click the like button, but mostly subscribe to stay up to date on all of my new lectures. I will see you all next class, or next video, if you feel like watching the next video that I produce, and I look forward to that. Catch you all next time. Professor Prometheus Pine, out.